It is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. This is another edition of Football Today, presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spice rum of the NFL. We are reunited. The guys are back from Mobile. I am Chris Rose, Bobby Skinner, Justin Penik, producer Connor. We're all together, even if not in the same room. All right, Bobby. The question everybody wants to know out of Mobile: does Penik snore?
Yes.
If I slept on the top ceiling floor of our Airbnb, I would have known, especially because they lied about being a 4-bedroom house. They're liars. But I'm sure he does.
I have very bad sleep apnea, so yes, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So
It's
how
not
was
fun.
it, guys? I got to tell you, I don't know if you guys stayed for the actual game. The game itself usually is pretty crappy. It's just, you're throwing a bunch of guys together. The game itself on Saturday was fun. It looked like all the content you guys shot was pretty good. How was
Yeah,
it?
we didn't stay for the game, but we are Jack Betch guys, so it was good to see him win the Senior Bowl MVP. And we're gonna do a Senior Bowl only mock draft on Talking Giants this week, and I'm gonna be banging on the table as I cosplay Brian Dable for Jack Betch.
Okay. Penik?
It was a lot of fun. Ton of players, talked to a ton of players too. I would say this was like our most productive week down in Mobile too, in terms of everything that came out. So a lot of fun. Excited to see where these guys get drafted.
Did you find it? I mean, there were some big name quarterbacks, not the top two. Shador Sanders wasn't there, Cam Ward wasn't there, but the guys that are fighting it out for QB3. Did you guys find the next great Giants quarterback that will soon be let go before his rookie contract expires?
I will say their names are big, their play not so much. No more Ole Miss quarterbacks for Big Blue.
Oh, Penik?
Dylan Gabriel was the most consistent quarterback, even though day 3 he went like 1 for 6 or 1 for 5 and 11 on 11 and somehow took sacks and 7 on 7. So, yeah, that tells you where the state of this quarterback class is at right now.
But don't worry, somebody's going to get hot. A little less than 3 months until the draft up there in Green Bay, which you can see over on NFL Network if you'd like to tune in for that. All right, so we're going to have another show before the kick of Super Bowl 59 down in New Orleans. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the game on Friday's show. But today we're going to kind of have a little bit of fun, take a little more leeway with some bigger picture topics of the Super Bowl. I got 8 of them in mind here, guys. Most of them you're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 5. Give us a reason for each thing that you believe here. So we're going to start off with this, which is the easy one, that the Chiefs are trying to become the first team to go back to back to back in Super Bowl history. How much do you care about this on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being, you move on to the next topic, Rose. 5 being, I can't believe we're not talking about this enough, Bobby.
This gets 5 big booms. I mean, this is the storyline of the Super Bowl. No team has ever done this, right? Like, we've come on these post Super Bowl shows and talked about, Brady versus Mahomes. Brady versus Mahomes, is it too early? They're able to win 3 in a row. That's now 4 Super Bowls. Now he's second most, tied with Joe Montana. And it's before Brady did it, to where now I feel like that stuff becomes a little more legit, and and it's a little less like, let's wait and see. Like, winning 3 in a row without the most talented roster in the NFL is amazing. And like you said, why are we not talking about it? I'm surprised that we're not talking more about like this dynasty that is the Kansas City Chiefs, and their 4th, not just 3 in a row.
Yeah, I'm giving this five big booms as well. Chris, do you know that reference, by the way?
I don't.
You know that?
I like it, though.
The Costco guys.
The Costco guys,
okay,
AJ
5
and Big
booms.
Justice.
Yes, I got it. I got
Oh,
it.
sorry about your brother that passed away. He gets 5 big booms.
Okay.
Oh,
got
yeah,
it.
so five big booms for me. Because really, I think the closest team that did it was the New England Patriots, 2001, 2003, 2004. They're like kind of the closest ones to do it. But then I think the last team to really win 3 championships in a row, 1929, 1930, 1931 Green Bay Packers. And that, obviously pre-Super Bowl days. So this is just something that I'm going to be telling my grandkids when both of you are maybe here with us, maybe not. I will be telling my grandkids about the Kansas City Chiefs and how they're one of the greatest dynasty because they were able to do it 3 times in a row.
Well, first of all, thanks for kicking the old guy to the curb. secondly, the thought of you having grandchildren inhabit this planet at some point just scared the bejesus out of me. Number three, I do want. I'm not here to point fingers or anything, but the Packers of 65 through 67 actually did it. They won
Oh,
the Yeah, they won the
cool.
NFL championship in 65. Then they won each of the first two Super Bowls. So we have had teams win three straight championships, just not three straight Super Bowls. To me, it's a little bigger than even that. Do you guys know the last team in North American? I, I got to be careful with this. If I
The
throw
core
like
four
a big,
sports.
the core four sports. Thank you. Do you
The
know
Lakers.
the last? Very good. That away, Bobby.
They beat my New Jersey Nets in one of those, so it's very memorable, you know.
Yeah, yeah. From the 99 season through the 02 season, they covered 3 seasons to win three titles. So, and when you throw out Mahomes and us talking about Brady, the simple explanation will be, well, you can't put him in Brady's category because he doesn't have 7 rings. Well, we don't do that in other sports. Who do we consider to be the greatest basketball player ever?
Jordan.
Michael Jordan. How many rings does he have?
6?
He has 6. Is that the most in NBA history?
No.
It is not. It is not. When we talk about the greatest baseball player in history, I mean, usually, you can kick that around. Willie Mays to Hank Aaron. Those guys don't have the most rings, and it's not even close. So why is it at this point that we strictly say, well, he can't be the best quarterback ever? I mean, what he has done or has a chance to do by age 29, if he wins in less than a week, Tom Brady didn't get to his second pairing of 3 Super Bowls until he was in his mid to late 30s.
Right, but it's just longevity matters. So it's not like Brady just had like this peak and then of 6 straight in a row, and then like Brady was great. Like it's hard. It's just hard to match what Brady did. It's impossible. MVP, Super Bowls. Record-breaking seasons. Like he was amazing in a time of amazing quarterback play. He rose to the top consistently. So the Chiefs, but like the only guy who we've thought that could maybe do that is Patrick Mahomes. So, once you get to 4, like that's just part of it. Because longevity matters to be able to do this at a, consistent basis in the era of salary cap where the NFL's not meant to do this, right? They make it to where you can't do this, and they've been the one team to, kick the trend of, paying the quarterback and being able to get it done.
They also give you hard schedules too when you finish in first place and when you finish in last place because they like the polarity of it. But let me flip this on its head for 1 second because I think the weight. Now this is a football fan saying this about the Super Bowl, but Rose, your fingers are all over sports. I think the weight of a Super Bowl win is just a lot more than some of the other sports, and here's what I mean. Flip this on its head. Cam Newton recently came out and said, I would rather keep my regular season MVP what I traded away for that Super Bowl victory in 2015, if that meant he had to give away his regular season MVP. And he said, no, I want to go down as a regular season MVP. I think that's kind of crazy. To be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, I think that holds so much more weight, even if you did it once, versus like a regular season MVP as a quarterback. Now, is that wrong? Like, I think, but I were to say, like in baseball, though, I think I would rather be an MVP winner in baseball and remembered for like a 40 or a 50 home run season than just being part of a World Series winning team. What do you guys think about that?
Well, for quarterback, Super Bowl win means the most, obviously,
yes,
in the NFL. And I think Cam was probably just kind of digging in his heels of like, I wouldn't change anything about my career. I think he would, if he was being honest, say he'd rather finish second in MVP voting that year and win the Super Bowl because he would be, better viewed, have a better case for Hall of Fame or whatever. But the reality is like the thing that keeps you afloat and keeps you going to the Super Bowl is that quarterback position, but also like where the NBA, you don't get like guys who get hot and get on a run, right? You have to win 4 out of 7 in every series, where in the NFL, you just got to have one bad day and you're out of the tournament. So like you said, Rose, to do this for the first time, to win 3 in a row, where you would win 3 years in a row where nobody had a better day than you, I think is pretty damn special.
Yeah, and the quarterback position is so different than there is nothing else in sports. There's not even a goaltender in hockey that comes close to it when it comes to a postseason run. We still talk about Joe Flacco because he still plays, but we are going to remember one run a dozen years ago where he threw 11 touchdowns and didn't throw any interceptions in leading the Ravens to the Super Bowl 47 victory over San Francisco. We're going to remember that forever. You remember quarterbacks, you remember coaches, and that's it. And in this particular sport, so yeah, I do. I think that obviously it's that choice that you put out there, Penik, is the one that you know we certainly understand where it's coming from. Let's move on to our second topic. Uh, Once again, scale of 1 to 5. Saquon Barkley is the most important offensive player Sunday on either team. 1 is hell no, and 5 is no doubt, Penik.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 5. It's hell yes, he's the most important because you typically talk about, we were just talking about quarterbacks, right? Where does the source of explosivity come for the most part in the game of football? Comes from the quarterback throwing the ball or even the quarterback dropping back to pass and then he scrambles. And that's typically where you see these big plays of 10, 15, 20 plus yards because everything just breaks down. The Philadelphia Eagles, their source of explosive plays, and Saquon Barkley has had a season unlike anybody else in NFL history with these runs and these touchdowns that he's had of 40, 50, 60 plus yard touchdowns. He is the source of the big plays that the Philadelphia Eagles have. Now, there is A.J. Brown, of course. There is Devontae Smith, but that's when the Eagles are really operating at their best. But no one has been able to stop over the last month and a half, 2 months. And since kind of like this December run, I feel like this is really when it started for the Eagles. Nobody has been able to stop the legs of Saquon Barkley, particularly big play Saquon Barkley. So absolutely, he is the most important player on this Eagles offense for sure. So I give it, I'm up there at a 5 again.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. You think he's more important than Patrick Mahomes?
On either team. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So we're just talking about a guy being the greatest of all time, and you think Saquon Barkley? I disagree with that pretty strongly.
Is the most important offensive player for the Eagles to have a shot in this. Like, if Patrick Mahomes has a stat line, I'm going to read you one of his stat lines from one of his Super Bowls. 21 for 27, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That was the stat line that he had in the 38-35 victory against the Eagles 2 years ago in 2022. Like, I view that, besides the 3 touchdown passes, under 200 yards, it's kind of a pedestrian stat line.
Besides the 3 touchdowns.
Besides the 3 touchdowns, which are kind of.
And he played like perfectly in that game against that defense too.
Yeah, he did.
Like a Shane Steichen defense, or not Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gann defense that was keeping up. Like they played damn near flawlessly. Like hell, Jalen Hurts played damn near flawlessly outside of a fumble in that game, and the Chiefs just did more. So importance is always a kind of a loaded word, but even within even erasing that, as we do like MVP versus most outstanding or whatever, I still think Mahomes is there. So I'm gonna go a 2 because I also think the Eagles just have a lot of other their quarterback is really important. I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, what they can do in this game, like I think there's so much, and we're just talking about offenses in this too. So I'll go a 2.
Yeah, I would keep it. I hate to go split it down the middle, but I will. I'll go with a 3 here, in part because of who he's going against. Spags has faced the NFL's leading rusher twice in the playoffs. He is 2-0 against those guys. So it was the 2019 AFC title game against Tennessee, held Derrick Henry to under 70 yards rushing. And then last year in Super Bowl 58, Christian McCaffrey really had to work to get his 80 yards on 22 carries. So he's 2-0. He's going to come up with some sort of master plan to have somebody else beat you. And I think that he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that it's Jalen Hurts' arm and not his legs. So, I think that once again, good luck with this because Saquon didn't have an enormous second half against the Rams in the divisional round until you consider those 2 explosive runs that he had. So other than that, they bottled him up, and then it's the 1-2 punch that he can deal. Also, there's a big day for Saquon Barkley. I hate to pile on my Giants buddies here, but he turns 20. Yeah, he turns 28 on Super Bowl Sunday. Players that had a birthday on the Super Bowl and playing it, are 10-4 all time.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Little nifty thing for you.
But Rose, so you brought up that Barkley. Okay, yeah, he wasn't as effective until he breaks off that run, but he did, and that's what he's done. And that's what he's done. Name me another player. I would say, but maybe besides A.J. Brown. Name me another player on either side of the ball that you think can snap of a finger, 40, 50, 60-yard play, changes the game. I don't think you can in this matchup.
I can name you A.J. Brown.
Yes.
But Saquon's done it way more consistently than A.J. Brown as of late. And that's why, in terms of level of importance, Saquon is a guy that can just change the game on a dime and do exactly what the Eagles may need in that specific game, in this specific game.
All right, we got more questions coming your way, but a quick reminder, it's a new year. We're all about setting goals and actually hitting them, and that's why we want to talk to you about today's sponsor, Huel. It is spelled Huel, the global complete nutritional brand trusted by millions. Now, Huel is a perfectly balanced meal. It's designed by experts to provide all the nutrients that your body needs from a meal. Huel takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. They're convenient. They taste good. Huel shakes actually taste kind of like a milkshake. Now, one of my favorites is this one right here. It is the Black Edition, ready to drink. It's got 35 grams of protein plus 27 vitamins and minerals. You can find Huel in GNC stores or Amazon or directly at Huel.com. For new customers shopping at Huel.com, you can give it a try for 15% off plus get a free gift using our exclusive code Football Today. That is 15% plus a free gift for new customers with the code Football Today. That's all one word, by the way, at Huel.com. Start your year off strong. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters out there. All right, we continue on with our questions. Patrick Mahomes, we've already talked a little bit about him, but Bobby, he will have to have the best game of his 5 Super Bowl appearances in order to take down the Philadelphia Eagles. 1 is heck no. 5 is absolutely, Rose.
I'll say 4 because I think the way he played against the Eagles 2 years ago is similar to the way he's going to have to play in this game. So he's kind of done that, but I think he's going to have to play way better than both of the 49ers games. And then obviously the Bucks loss that he had, because Vic Fangio is he is not gonna make it easy on them. Like, you're gonna have to play damn near perfect football to get that win. And on the other side, you do have an offense that can create those explosives in the run game with Saquon Barkley, like Justin was talking about, and get you over the top with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert can do damage there. They have the tush push that makes them super efficient on 3rd and 4th down. So there's not going to be very much room for error in this game against a really damn good defense. That I'll go 4 because I think he had a very similar game. Like, he's going to have a very similar game to what he did against the Eagles 2 years ago. I think if he plays the way he did in either of the 49ers games, this may go down as a L.
I'm going to go with the 3, where his EPA, incredible EPA per play in the last Super Bowl against the Eagles with 95th percentile, and that's the one where he went 21 for 27, 182 with 3 touchdowns. But you look at that stat line, the 3 touchdowns definitely do stick out, but the yards being under 200, it's like, it's not really sexy. They're going to need an offense that's going to have to just stay on schedule, where a 6.2 average depth of target for Mahomes in that last Super Bowl, that's the 15th percentile. That's kind of where the Chiefs have been over the last 2 years. Is they have to keep that average depth of target low, and they have to kind of stay on schedule. And I think that's kind of how Patrick Mahomes is going to need to win. And so why I say 3, it's a little lower than Bobby, is I don't think the yards is going to be sexy. Like, he threw for 333 last year. I don't think he's going to throw for 333 unless he's having to come back, unless they're down by 10 points in the 4th quarter and they're having to come back. But if the Chiefs are playing their brand of football, which is keeping the game close and keeping that game script very close and just controlling the game, then that average depth of target's going to be down. They're going to stay on schedule, and Mahomes is just going to be slinging it left to right to whoever's open, and he's going to be using his legs as well. It wouldn't surprise me, especially now that he has that healthy ankle. He had 6 rushing attempts for 44 yards in the Eagles Super Bowl, 9 rushing attempts for 66 yards last year. I think he's easily clearing over 50 rushing yards this game.
Well, he has to get minimum over 40, which is something that he's done 7 times in his playoff career. And so, yeah, to me, it's not necessarily the gaudy number with his arms, but it's both of those because we don't talk about Mahomes' running until he actually runs for a huge first down, right? He did it last year, even on the bad ankle and everything else. He's done it, or in Super Bowl 57 with the bad ankle. So when he does that sort of stuff, then you sit there and you're like, wow, we tend not to talk about Patrick Mahomes and his running ability. We talk about Josh Allen and his running ability. We'll talk about Jalen Hurts and his running ability. But Patrick Mahomes always leaves us with some sort of memorable scramble, whether it's to continue a drive, keep the ball away from the opponent, whatever it is. So I could see him throwing for under 250 and still having perhaps his best Super Bowl yet. And so I'm going to have to say that it's probably a 4 out of 5. Yes,
Rose.
Mr. Penik.
I have to say something. I have to say. I want to break the news to Chris Rose.
Rose is
I want to
breaking
break the
news.
news to Chris Rose. Myles Garrett has demanded a trade from the Cleveland Browns, and he made a statement.
But don't do that.
I swear, I'm not lying to you. I broke the news to you. Justin did not.
This is like Luka was traded to the.
It was not that big. Which, by the way, it's I hate to be. I'll take it. That's the dumbest trade ever in sports history, right? The Luka trade.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Well, not
the dumbest trade ever.
It's not the dumbest trade ever.
What's the dumbest trade ever?
Well, maybe perhaps the team that just had their guy request a trade. All right, what do we do about this? Oh my God! So here's the statement that he just released. Myles Garrett. As a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man I am today. While I've loved calling this city my home, my desire to win and compete the biggest stage won't allow me to be complacent. The goal is never was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It was always to compete for and win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett. Oh, God.
And I had this dream of pairing Myles Garrett. I had this dream
before Sunday.
Before Sunday. I did have this dream of pairing Myles Garrett with Abdul Carter and just how fun that defensive front would be. Even if the team's not good, that would be one of the more fun defensive fronts you've ever seen.
Oh my God!
Hey, maybe trade him to the Giants, and we'll do that with pick 3.
So
with Brian Burns.
If you're but let's think this through here. If this strictly isn't an extension ploy, which I am hopeful that it is,
I don't think so.
I don't think it is either. Okay, if you do that. If you trade him, all these teams that would love to have him, the Lions, all their picks are going to be in the 20s forever. You cannot give up Myles Garrett, who's still in the prime of his career. He just turned 29 years old in December. You can't give him up for multiple first-round picks for the Lions. What the hell does that do for you?
Yeah, I would say no, because like you said, no one's that's gonna have a bottom of the draft pick is. Actually, you know what? Some of those teams may be willing to do that. Like what's a team? Can you see the Falcons maybe making a big splash trade for Myles Garrett, and then their season doesn't go the way they expect? Like, I could see something like that happening.
I mean, if you're the Bears, do you trade because you've got a rookie quarterback on his deal? They have a top 10 pick?
Yeah,
and. Not that the Bears are significantly closer to a Super Bowl than the Browns, but at least they're pointed in the right direction. I don't know if that would satisfy Myles Garrett, but when you're talking about a Super Bowl contender, I mean, you're talking about teams that are picking from basically 24 and back. Oh, God, what a disaster. Are you guys enjoying this?
No.
I just want it on the record. I was the one who broke the news to you. Justin did not get it out in time.
Oh, my God.
Hey, if he has an amazing year, get ready for how did the Browns let this guy go? We've had to deal with that every single week.
What do you mean if he has an amazing year? What do you mean if he has an amazing?
I'm saying on the biggest stage. Like if he's just having an amazing year on the Cardinals, no one will care. But if he's doing it and they're winning playoff games in prime time with whatever team that he's in, then be like, how did the Browns waste this talent? Which you guys have wasted the talent, but still.
So real
49ers should trade
quickly,
for him.
and we'll get back to the Super Bowl. If you're the Browns, how do you handle this? Because this isn't about acquiescing and just giving Myles Garrett whatever he wants. I mean, the guy's still under contract for a few more years. So to request a trade in this sport, I think is a little different than we've seen in NBA circles and things of that nature. Like this is, like I said, this is something where you're giving away a guy who's going to slip on a gold jacket, no question, that still has a ton of good football left. And you can't just give him away for, 3 first-round picks at the end of the first round. That's not going to fly.
Well, I don't even know if you would get three. When's the last time someone was traded for 3 first-round picks?
Well, quarterbacks end up getting traded for 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, how much did the Browns trade for Deshaun Watson?
That would be 3 first-round picks and three other picks.
So maybe you try and get those back. The issue is I can see Myles Garrett not playing. That's if he's not gonna skip out on games, just say no. Shout out Nancy Reagan. I'm just saying no to any trade of Myles Garrett. But if he's gonna miss out on games, then you kind of, and you don't think he's bluffing on that, then you kind of got to work something out.
All right. We'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm going to have to move my therapy appointment up today, guys. God damn it.
BetterHelp will let you change that around for you.
Ha! Free of charge. All right, let's move on to this. We'll probably have to cut a question or two, but we're gonna keep this one because I love it. This one is that you see Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni in a much different light than you did before this season started. 1 is heck no. 5 is yep. Sorry what I thought about you earlier this year, Nick. Penik?
I'm going to go with the 2. Because I kind of don't know. What I am going to give him credit for is great job being good friends with Vic Fangio. And good job prying him out of Miami. Now, that might... I think Fangio did a lot to kind of get out of Miami after year one. A lot of the players didn't like him, didn't work well with Mike McDaniel. It certainly seems like maybe he did it on purpose because he seems like he's always been a good fit with Philadelphia. I mean, he was the advisor. He was like the last minute advisor that the Eagles hired in that 2022 Super Bowl. So I think he's done a very good job getting a staff together, even Kellen Moore, even though he has his flaws. But Howie Roseman just had one of the best off seasons you're ever going to see from a general manager. The 2 corners that they drafted, the 2 DBs that they drafted, and Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean are immediate impacts. Saquon Barkley is an immediate impact. They took a reclamation project in Mekhi Becton and turned him into a starting guard who is an advantage as a run blocker. I mean, so many other things that I'm not bringing up. Like one of the best off seasons that Zach Bond turned a guy that was that they threw away from New Orleans into an all-pro linebacker. One of the best off seasons you're ever going to see. So, yeah, Nick Sirianni leading this team, good for him getting back to the Super Bowl. But I'm not totally changing my full opinion on him because the GM also did have, like I said, one of the best off seasons that we've ever seen.
I'm at a 3 because nothing has changed for me. I thought this team was extremely talented, and I thought the coordinators were the biggest upgrade that any teams had really received this offseason. And, kind of our line for them was like they're too talented to fail, even though they had failed the year before. So Sirianni has not gotten in the way of them winning, similar to the way he has in the past. Obviously, the end of last year was a horrible coaching job, but you got rid of those coordinators, and you've seen Sirianni win with good coordinators. So, honestly, nothing has changed with me for Sirianni. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's this great advantage as a head coach, but also he has not proven to be a great disadvantage either.
Yeah, I'm not going high on this. It's either a 2 or 3 because if we have a head coaching draft and we rank the head coaches, where does he sit right now, guys? Middle of the pack at best, right?
Be good to revisit what our coaching power rankings are.
Yeah, you want to look those up while we stall?
Maybe I will. But yeah, I think he's middle of the pack. I think when you just talk about what coach would I want for my team starting up, I don't think he's ranked super high on that, but you can't put him low either.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he's middle of the pack. Who would you rather have right now, Dan Quinn or Nick Sirianni?
Ooh.
Oh, Dan Quinn.
Yeah, I guess I'd say Quinn. I guess is hot right now, but Quinn was also fired, not too long ago. But
right, I mean, I don't know. Where's he rank in the NFC East coaching hierarchy right
Our
now?
our average consensus preseason was he had him 18th.
Yeah.
Rose, you had him 16th.
Mm-hmm.
I had him. Where'd I have him? I had him 20th, and then Justin had him 18th, I guess. I don't know. Justin didn't put his in the email.
Wow. Dead guy.
Yep. So there you go. We all still don't believe. And guess what? When he's sitting on the desk next to me in 6 days after they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to ask him that question. I'm going to ask because he knows. He knows that he doesn't get any love whatsoever.
Oh, the city, I feel like still hates him.
I know. It's weird, right?
If there was a mini mic that went around, like one of those Instagram, TikTok reels, whatever.
Right.
If the Eagles are going to fail in the postseason, who's going to be the culprit of it?
Yeah.
And it's like 75% of the answers were Nick Sirianni.
Yeah. All right, let's do this one. Jalen Carter has surpassed Chris Jones as a more disruptive force in the NFL. 1 is, what are you thinking? 5 is, yeah, that Carter kid is a beast. Bobby?
1, because as much as Jalen Carter is a beast, you could say he's, top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL. Chris Jones is number 1. He's better than him in every statistical category. I think he's better as a more consistent player. In the run game as well. So Carter is amazing. It's not taking anything away from him, but it's just Chris Jones, I think, is the best defensive tackle in football. I think he's better than Dexter Lawrence, better than Quinnen Williams. I don't think there's anyone that is at his level and what he's been able to do consistently. So it is a what are you thinking? Because as good as Jalen Carter has been, even in the playoffs, I think Chris Jones' playoffs have been better.
Yeah, and this is according to Pro Football Reference, too. I mean, Chris Jones has 4 seasons of 28-plus QB hits with 1, 2, 3 seasons of 10-plus sacks, 5 seasons with 9-plus sacks in a season. So Jalen Carter is a disruptor and one of the NFL's biggest disruptors at this point at his stage of his NFL career. You see the double team rates. It's off the charts. It's one of the highest in the NFL. And you watch the game, the impact that he has, it's there. But Jones has been that dude. Jones has been that disruptor for years. Plus, he's been able to back it up with the sacks, the hits, and the tackles for loss and things like that. Carter's on his way. And typically you see like these interior defensive linemen, it takes them like 3 years to kind of get to that level where they're producing numbers. So I'm really excited to see what Carter's year 3 has in store. But no, I'm with Bobby. Like I'm around a 1 or a 2 where Carter's that dude, but Chris Jones is the OG of this.
Well, I'm also going to say 2 only because I don't think that we can measure Carter's ability to stay in between, to color inside the lines, if you know what I mean, after just 2 years. Like
drive inside the lines.
Okay. Now.
You made it too easy.
He's a fantastic talent. Now, as far as just playoffs, I seem to remember this number, and I went back to his game log. It took Chris Jones 14 playoff games to register his first postseason sack. Do you guys remember that? Remember
Yeah, it was last year, right?
I think it was either last year or 2 years. No, it was 2 years ago against Kansas City in the AFC title game. He got 2 sacks against Cincinnati. Sorry,
okay,
in the AFC title game. He only has 3.5 sacks in. I think he's played 21 playoff games, something like that. That's pretty crazy. He did get one earlier this season against Houston in the divisional round. And we've seen what Jalen Carter, those last 2 defensive snaps against the LA Rams are probably why Philadelphia is going to the Super Bowl and possibly not the Rams. So he can destroy time. And I think that'll be a fantastic matchup. Obviously, now that Kansas City has moved Joe Thuney out to left tackle and Caliendo's in there in between Creed Humphrey and Thuney, a player of Pro Bowlers and all pros as well. That'll be really interesting when Jalen Carter does match up right over the guard at some point during Super Bowl Sunday. All right, let's finish up. But before we do, actually, Justin Penik, you do have a word for us.
I do. Guess what, fellas? Super Bowl 59 is right around the corner, and it's the perfect time to get in on the action with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they're offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use our code Football Today. Stay on the action. Use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Put together a Super Bowl parlay, will you? Do it for yourself. Scoring touchdowns is the key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet on touchdowns, and the sports betting is not yet available in your state. Don't you worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use code Football Today, all one word. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Football Today, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours, and you will be glad you did.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penik. We will be giving our game predictions and breaking it down a little bit more football-y later in the week on our Friday edition of Football Today. But we'll finish with this little fun one. It's a pretty good celebrity fan matchup between these teams. Chiefs, you got Jason Sudeikis, Paul Rudd, Eric Stonestreet, and I keep hearing that Taylor Swift is a Chiefs fan. I can't confirm it. The Eagles have people like Kevin Hart and Bradley Cooper, Mike Trout, Miles Teller. They're all in a single team suite. You can only hang out in one. Penik, which one are you going to? Eagles fan or Chiefs fan suite?
This is tough because you can have Bradley Cooper can make you cheesesteaks.
Do you think he's making those in a suite?
Yes, I would ask him to. I'm going with the Chiefs because the trio of Jason Sudeikis, Paul Rudd, and Eric Stonestreet put three of those people in a room. And then, Taylor Swift, you know what I've always wanted to tell Taylor Swift if I see her in person?
Okay.
You wouldn't be you without Shania Twain. Shania Twain did it first. Shania Twain was the pioneer. She went from country to pop first, and she did it. She became the international superstar. Shania walked so Taylor can run, and that's what I would tell her. And then I would have a lot of fun with the trio of Jason Sudeikis, Paul Rudd, Eric Stonestreet. The stories that would come out of them.
She grifted country music way before you, Taylor Swift.
That's right.
Wow. Holy smokes. Okay. Bobby Skinner, this is a question right up your alley. I know you love these ones. I was thinking of you when I wrote it.
Well, I'm not going to hang out with Eagles fans, so that's easy. And then the Chiefs one, you're going to have everyone's going to be trying to get in the Taylor Swift shot on TV, so you're going to have them. So the rest of the suite is for, me and the boys. We no line for the food. It's just me and the boys hanging out, watching the game, talking ball, joking around. While everyone else tries to get in the Taylor Swift shot.
You would want to get in the shot, though. You would do something crazy.
Like what?
No, I don't know. Whatever you would want to do.
I'd put a sticker on the window or something.
Would you bring in a firecracker?
No,
so
I'm not
would be doing
a crime.
TikTok dances in the back with Jackson Mahomes. I could definitely see that happening in the Chiefs suite. Boy, this is a tough one. This is tough. I actually like the question because the fans are actually big time fans. They're not like fake fans. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but in Super Bowl 52, Kevin Hart was hammered out of his gourd and came up on our set. And just
that sounds awful.
Well, so for whatever reason, people still care when you swear on cable television. I'd never have understood it, but they do. So he started going off, and Dion picked him up like he was a bouncer. He's like, all right, you got to get out the club now. And he actually escorted him off of the stage, off of our little set. So I don't know if we can go through that again. So I guess I'll hang out in Kansas City. I'll see you in the Chiefs suite, guys. It'll be fun. Get my picture with Tay-Tay.
I'm still waiting on one of our sponsors to give me a suite to an Orlando Magic game. That was something that's supposed to have been happening for a long time, and it still hasn't. SeatGeek.
Yeah, well, don't worry. You don't need to call them out. I mean, that's not going to help you.
It will help me. They need to be called out. SeatGeek, you're a great advertiser. You do great work. I use you all the time. I need that Orlando Magic suite.
See if we can work on that. We'll talk to our sales department. All right, boys, we are back at it again later this week when we'll give you our Super Bowl prediction, break it down a little bit more in the football world, and just have a ton of fun as we get you all set for Super Bowl 59 down in the Bayou. Shout out to producer Connor, always does a bang-up job for us. For Bobby Skinner, for Justin Penik, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday here on Football Today, presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL.